This week has been quite a busy week on the farm. I started out Monday with getting a batch of cauliflower from our garden over the last summer, preserved on freeze-drying trays so we can get them stored away in jars. We just harvested the cauliflower after we grew it and froze it, and then are now finally preserving it. After I got the cauliflower in the freeze dryer, I got breakfast started, and right now I'm helping my son with some puzzles while breakfast is cooking. And then we're heading outside after breakfast. What she doesn't realize is that is meant to keep cows out. What are you doing, girl? You wanna come on out? I have some grain for you. Well, you scaled that pretty good. Seems like you've been practicing. Yeah. Is that so? So I had this brilliant idea back in, I don't know, November, December, that I needed to order 150 meat birds like as soon as I could. So here we are. It's February 26th, and I'm supposed to have 150 Cornish cross be delivered to me, be shipped out to me. They are going to be shipping, I think today. They said this week, so it makes sense either today or tomorrow. Fortunately, the weather right now is good, but last week was not. So I'm hoping that we are through the cold winter weather and that we're on the spring end. Because if I have to raise 150 chicks in the cold, like, I don't know what I had going through my mind at the time when I ordered them. I have friends that are gonna try and bite my butt behind my back. Anyway, so I'm gonna go clean up the brooder, so that way they're all ready to go, so I'm not scrambling last minute to figure this all out. At the end of the last season, I pretty much just closed the door and left the brooder how I had it. So today I am going through the brooder, cleaning everything up, and getting it ready for the new batch of chicks that we have coming. I got the email stating that they're going to be arriving any day this week, so typically they ship them on Monday and then they arrive to us on Wednesday, so I'm assuming I can be expecting them this Wednesday. This is what I'm worried about. Kiki. Little Miss Rosita. She is my mouser, and she will bring back any dead animal she can find. Any animal she can find dead. She particularly likes little baby birds. And the fact that she is in my brooder right now is a little concerning because I have a feeling she's gonna try and get in to get these chicks. So I've got to make sure that this brooder is Rosita proof. Right, Key? Right, Kiki? All right, you little miss. You got to move right on out. There is hay right outside for you. You don't need to eat this hay. Go on. Go on. You're pathetic. Because I do not have electric run to my barn, I am having to run extension cords from our house to the barn for the heat lamps that we need to keep the chicks warm. All right, so these guys are rolling. I'm gonna unplug this at the house. I know it's working, so everything's good to go. And so then I'll just wait till the chicks arrive at the post office. Because the ground is finally thawed out enough, I am able to take this portable fencing and move it. So I've had the chickens in this one spot for a couple weeks now, and it desperately needs to be moved. Now, I can't move the fence when the ground is frozen because the stakes are frozen into the ground and then I can't put them back in. So today I am getting the chickens moved to a new spot, just moving them further along, kind of in line. I move the chickens by myself usually. Sometimes one of the kids will help me, but I've got a pretty good system down that it doesn't take me very long to do this by myself. Because the animals are really more my thing and not my husband's, I try to make sure that all of my systems are streamlined for one person or for me with the kids. He's more than happy to help me if I ever have any task that I need another full-grown adult to help me with, that even my older girls can't help me or don't want to help me with. He's more than happy to help me, but I know that this is not something that he enjoys doing, and I do. So I've made these systems really easy for me to be able to do alone. Now, Gideon went out in the woods on his four-wheeler and got it stuck in the mud. So when Chris got home from work, he asked him if he could help him get his four-wheeler out of the mud. So we decided to all go for a walk and get this four-wheeler unstuck. The way these geese were walking kind of reminded me of the scene in the Jungle Book where all the elephants are in a line walking together through the jungle. I'm not exactly sure what they find interesting in the garden, but they always seem to gravitate towards this area. You ever feel like something's just following you everywhere you go? Got this dum-dum. Oh my gosh. Frustrating part about this lamb is he will run away. Maybe he'll come to me this time. Can I take that bucket off your neck? Can I take that bucket off your neck, little dum-dum? Yeah, I figured so. All right, come on. Let's see if we can make this work. Whoa, who's digging a hole? Do that again? You're not gonna eat the dog food anymore now, are ya? Oh, where are my little snurdy pigs? Ah, piggy piggies. Hey. Ciao. Now the freeze drying process typically takes about 30 hours. So right now it is Tuesday night, and before I jump in bed, I am going to pull all this cauliflower out of the freeze dryer, put it in the jars, and then run the defrost cycle and get the freeze dryer ready to go for the next batch. Freeze-dried food, if it is jarred up properly with oxygen absorbers, can easily last 20 to 25 years. So unlike canning, which really has a shelf life of, a year, 18 months, although I tend to push it a little bit more. I know that this food can stay on my shelves for years, and I'm not pressed to use it up in a certain amount of time. So that is the one thing I absolutely love about freeze-drying food. I could literally eat this cauliflower in 10 years, 15 years. So who knows? I just might. Shay has been my sweet little helper with getting Frickin' Burger fed. So she enjoys mixing up the milk for him and getting that all together. I love seeing my little kids stepping up and enjoying little tasks that help me. Aww.
I need to sit. Mom, I need to sit.
Great job. So today we made puff pancake for breakfast. And of all the times that I've made puff pancake, I've never seen it puff up in these little tiny balls like this. I thought it was quite interesting. Of course, it was just as delicious. I got the call from the post office that the chicks were ready to be picked up. So me and the two younger ones headed out to the post office, grabbed them, and are bringing them back to our brooder ready to go.
I see you.
When I unbox the chicks, I try to get a couple of them to dip their beaks into the water so that they know where the water is. If you show a few of them, they eventually will all learn from those few. So I don't need to dip each beak into the water, but just a couple. And so here I'm getting them introduced to the water. One tip, though, that I must say I've learned the hard way: add a splash of apple cider vinegar, the real apple cider vinegar with the mother in it, to the water. Just a little splash. It gives the chicks the probiotics in their system, and I'm telling you, the survival rate is so much greater when you add that vinegar in there. I've learned the hard way.
Kiki. Oh, Kiki. Oh, Kiki. How? Let's lock.
Now today I had a hankering for roasted Brussels sprouts and sweet potatoes. So I diced up a couple big sweet potatoes and cut up the Brussels sprouts and baked them for about 45 minutes or so, and seasoned them with pork lard and some salt. That was it. And then gave them a few extra minutes to broil them just to crisp up that Brussels sprouts. They were amazing. I was upstairs folding laundry and I hear Krickenberger down in the kitchen walking around hollering. I have no idea how he got in here. So out he goes to live with the livestock. So Helen right here used to be our bottle lamb from last year. Or she was our bottle lamb from last year. No, Crick. Hey, Helen. Hey, Helen. Don't be mean to him. Don't be mean to him. So as I'm out here noticing, Helen, don't be mean. All right, you can go ahead and get him out. They're not liking him. So anyway, so as I'm out here noticing, I notice this big mama's belly, and I notice this one has quite the udder. Because I can see these two mamas so close to lambing, I'm gonna start bringing them in at night so that way I can monitor them. If they lamb, I know that they're safe and they're protected, and then they can go back out with the other sheep during the day. So pretty quickly, I realized that the 2 heat lamps were not gonna be enough heat for the 150 chicks that I had. So I am hanging up a 3rd light and trying to make sure the temperature is good for all of them. One way that you can tell if they are not happy is by the noise that they make. They should be fairly quiet. Another thing is if they are huddled tightly around those lamps, then you know that they're just cold. And unfortunately, the 2 days the 2 days leading up to me getting the chicks, so like that Tuesday and Wednesday, it got super, super cold. So because the temperatures were so cold, I just needed to add in that extra layer of heat and warmth. And they probably won't need this 3rd heat lamp for very long once the temperatures come back up.
If I made 150 chick sweater.
So I had a couple cans of an organic apple pie filling that I had bought last year that I wanted to use up, and I have had a hankering for pie. I don't know why. So my older daughter Jordan had made some pie crust a few months ago and we had stuck it in the freezer. So I pulled the pie crust out, brought the apple pie filling down from the basement, and decided to make some apple pies. It looks really gross coming out of the can, but I'm telling you what, this pie filling is really, really good, and it's very clean. It's pretty much just sugar, apples, I think a little bit of gelatin, some cinnamon. So, you know what? I got it for cheap, and it is delicious, so fine by me. I want to show you how much they've quieted down, and they are no longer squeaking like crazy. They're no longer really piled up on each other. You can see in the far corner, that far, far light, they're not huddled right underneath of it. There's more of like a little bit of a circle. So it goes to show that they're not squished. This heat lamp right here, they're kind of squishing a little bit still. But I'm hoping that as this room warms up a little bit, since it's plastic lined, hopefully they'll kind of settle into it a little bit. But they seem to be okay. But you can just notice the squeaking has gone down tremendously, so they're much more happy. Usually the sign of chickens in distress are either no noise at all, which means they're dead, or the just incessant chirping. And that just lets you know that something's wrong. So everybody seems very happy. Let's hope they make it through the night. So after checking on the chicks, we came back inside, and Gemma has been asking to make these fig orange cookies for a couple weeks now. And I figured, you know what? Now's the time to do it. Let's go. We had some oranges, we had figs, so she was super excited to make these cookies. I'm gonna put the recipe down below so that you can make these too. If you like fig Newtons, these are delicious. They have that citrus to it, and the figs, it's just wonderful. And they're a very light cookie. They're not crispy and sugary. They're more of like they reminded me of scones. So we made these up, and I definitely admit that I ate way too many. This week I moved the chickens from there. Look at all this grass starting to come up. How green. And then over here, look, you can see where I moved the trailer. Now, I am a little concerned that I hope I didn't kill the grass. The chickens were here and over here a lot longer than I wanted to, just because of the freezing ground, and I couldn't move the fence. But I'm hoping that the water kind of washes some away and it hasn't completely killed the grass. I haven't brought you guys out to feed the pigs with me in a while, so I wanted to show you how they're growing. They're growing really nicely. I'm going to be taking them to the processor in about 5 weeks, so I'm super excited. We just ran out of bacon, and I am greatly looking forward to restocking my pork in my freezer, and I have a lot of customers that are wanting pork as well. So I'm going to be processing 3 pigs, and I'm going to be keeping 1 for breeding this spring. So on for another round of freeze drying. I am finishing up the last of the cauliflower that I had, and then I'm starting on onions. These are onions that we grew last year and stored in the basement, and we started noticing they were getting a little bit soft. So my mom helped me get them ready. I'm chopping them up, putting them in the freeze dryer, and we will have onions now for whenever we want them. Again, these last years and years and years. You're doing all of the prep work for these onions now, so I quite literally will open up a jar, dump it in whatever dish I need to use, and walk away. It's done. I absolutely love it. They are so convenient. Now, over the weekend, the sun came out. It was mid-50s. I think we had almost a low 60-degree day. And I figured now is the time. Let's get these cows out of the paddock, out from eating all this hay, and turn them out in the field. You can see they are super excited to be out running around, and we're sending them out into the field where they can now be rotated through each of the pastures throughout the rest of the season. Hopefully this is it. If we absolutely have to supplement with some round bales, then I can throw a round bale out in the field, but for the most part, I think we are done for the winter. All right, 1's in.
2's in. 3's in. 4's in. 5's in. 6's in. No, 6's in.
Good job. Yay!
That's easier than I thought.
It was easier than I thought. And another huge sign that spring is coming is the Canadian geese are flying north for the summer, and our daffodils and crocuses are blooming.